Ujai, and welcome to the Wisdom of the Nile show. And I'm your host, Neezheqiah, alongside
Kasati Hekama, Ujai. Greetings, everyone.
Ujai. And yeah, that's to everyone really out there. Really, Ujai means greeting. That's the Kemetic language terms for saying greetings. Anyway, first of all, we would just like to acknowledge, honor, and validate the divine world. Also, we want to acknowledge, validate, and honor the world of the dead, the ancestors. And we also want to honor, acknowledge um, Master Naba, Lamusa Moran Denebig, for bringing us the Earth Center here to the west. Now, I just want to give you a quick breakdown of who Master Naba was. And he was a Kemetic Dogon high priest from Burkina Faso, and he's coming from a lineage of healers. They belong to the Gulmu people, and the Gulmu people, they were one of the special kind of people, the indigenous people who had the knowledge really of interrogating the earth, and they were able to read the earth energy. And Master Naba, he was a master at this. Now, Master Naba, he went to colonial school alongside doing the traditional and spiritual education, and he was one of the bloodlines that actually kind of say that actually migrated from Asian Kemet across to the west coast of Africa there into Burkina Faso, around that area, alongside other important bloodlines, and that was due to the invasions from the Romans, from the Persians, the Ixos, who, they saw like what was happening there in Kemet, that they had this vast pool of knowledge, and so their aim really, right, was to kind of say come and take control of what we already had and establish. And in order for them to do that, really, right, their aim really was to destroy the culture, the Kemetic culture, and that was taking away our language and everything really from us really. So the migration basically was the means of them preserving the knowledge, preserving the culture, preserving the initiation, and through the initiation, this is our kind of say our knowledge was preserved. As we're going through initiation now, as graduates, we're still learning, and so that's the importance of going through initiation. This is how the culture was kept alive. Now, as I said, Master Naba, he was schooled in the colonial school as alongside the traditional way, education, spiritual and cultural education, and he he got to a level, right, where he surpassed his masters, and he was renowned along the Dogon people as one of the Kemetic spiritual leaders that he was revered and looked up to. Master Naba was a master in the hieroglyphics and Egyptology, alongside numerous amount of achievement which he had behind him, his experience. So because of his array of knowledge, he was given permission from the kingship and the dignitaries of the Kemetic temples, that he was given permission to take the knowledge to us here in the West, because of the state that the West was in, where we've come into a state of destruction. So being the person that he was, and to the level that he'd reached, he was given that permission, really, right, to come to us here in the West, really, right, to share the traditional Kemetic knowledge, really. Master Naba went to Germany, and they didn't really take a liking to him there first, by the looks of things. So he went back and he then make an attempt into the Americas in 1995. There he published, like say, the Bayawali magazine, and he was disseminating, and the sunny side, the rising sunny side, Firefly magazine. Um, this knowledge was strange to a lot of people, so initially, really, right, his aim really was to get an interest, to get people to recognize the importance of what he was trying to put out there. And so 3 years he spent kind of say doing this, he's pushing out the knowledge and everything out there. And then in 1998 he actually opened up the first school in Chicago, Illinois. After that he opened up a further school really in New York and another one in San Diego. Now Master Naba, it was a struggle, he basically went back to Merita. This is where we call what they call Africa. That's the proper Kemetic name, Merita, Meritah, and that's where he went back to Bokino around that side there, Ouagadougou, and he set up a school there as well. That was in 2006, and a couple of years after that, Master Naba transitioned really into the Ancestral's realm. Now, Naba Irita Shamira, his son, took up the work that Master Naba started by continuing to grow the school globally, so that more and more of us really right can get access to this knowledge, with the aim of trying to change the mindset of humanity, and so there we have a few schools there in Manu, USA. We've also got school there in Canada, Montreal and Toronto side. We've also got 2 schools there in the UK, one here in London and the other one in Coventry. And the school is continuing to grow, and so, Master Nabi, he was the one that actually started off the Ancaster. We've got like a branch there, Ancaster. He actually started off that school, the organization there, alongside the Earth Center here, which has been going now for 20 years. Yeah. So, we're still making good progress here, really. Now, the schools is in four different branches, and my Atini here, Kasati, she was just going to take you through, just to give you a rundown, like of the different areas of what the schools are involved in.
Ujai everyone. So the Earth Centre's mission is to promote Chem culture, which is humanity's original ancestral culture. And the vision of the Earth Centre is to promote this ancestral traditional culture and knowledge for the upliftment and enlightenment of all humanity. So with that being said, the tools that we've been provided with by the Earth Centre to reconnect us to our Kemetic traditions and spirituality is the 4 branches of the organization. The first one I'll discuss is Firefly Productions. Firefly Productions is the publishing house of the Earth Centre, which disseminates the traditional Kemetic knowledge, and this is done through books, magazines, CDs, DVDs, posters and branded clothing, which are all printed by our organization. Currently, there are 3 books available at our website or at any of our international schools. Are the Philosophy Podium, which is written by Nebnaba Lamusa Moradenebig, the Dogon High Priest. And this is a collection of thought-provoking essays on the philosophy, culture and spirituality of Kemet. Master Naba is also known as the Makaru, which means truth teller. And this book reunites humanity in an honest, truthful approach to the history, structure and range of human genius, coming from the Nile Valley civilization. The second book is the Initiatic Tales of Hejpatah, and this is also written by Master Naba himself. And this is a book that contains initiatic stories of thousands of years old that were told in the bush in Merita through initiation. And these are stories that enlighten, empowers and inspires readers of all ages, reminding them of our Kemetic values and principles and laws. The third book is the Book of Purification, and this is written by Master Nabala Musa Moradenibig alongside with his son Naba Irita Shenmira. Now, the Book of Purification explores the power of spiritual purification, meditation and prayer as taught in the temples and also in the initiatic schools of Kemet, which the West calls the Egyptian mystery system. So the book covers ancient purification spells that are written and translated in Medu, which is what the Greeks call hieroglyphs, which means holy writings. The Greeks were actually students of Kemet, and so when they saw our writings, they realized how holy they were, so they gave it the name hieroglyphs. So the Book of Purification also covers the relationship between an individual and the energy of our ancestors, and how the ancestors affect our destinies, and it also assists us on how to affect and alter our destiny. It covers the daily honoring of one's spirit and ancestors through the prayers that we recite daily, and how to cleanse ourselves through away from negative energies and much more. Also available through Firefly Productions are the Code of Human Behavior, and this is commonly known as the 77 Commandments. Now, these commandments were given to humanity from the Neteru. The European word for Neteru would be termed as gods. So they are divine beings. So the Neteru gave humanity these codes of human behavior to bring us away from our barbarism and corruption. Now, all of these publications, as I said, are available at our website, which is www.theearthcenter, center being spelled CENTER.org. So also available is the Kemetic Sidereal Calendar, and this is the world's most astronomically accurate calendar, which is based on the Septet star, which the Greeks refer to as a Sirius star. So in this calendar, it shows the Kemetic holy days that have been observed by our ancestors for hundreds and thousands of years, which aligns us in time and space. There's a lot more information in the calendar. It tells one about the month you're born and things that pertain to you according to the month that you were born. Also, the other publication from the Firefly is the Rising Firefly magazines. Now, these are 3 monthly periodicals that contains a myriad of topics from health matters, societal issues, and spiritual information. And these are written by Master Naba himself, Naba Irita, and many other initiates of the Earth Center. Also in the Rising Firefly magazines are the 3 monthly Bayali readings, which are Earth energy readings for the month that one is born. So the new one is currently out just a couple weeks ago. So that is Firefly Productions, the first branch of the organization. The other branch is Projects in Merita. Now, this is the branch whose goal is to protect humanity's cultural legacy. And this is done by assisting the traditional communities in Merita with sustainable development. So Projects in Merita assists with fixing old wells, building new wells, purchasing land, working on land, and farming environmentally friendly food and herbs for the well-being of the community, as well as for visitors who come to pilgrimage on an annual basis, or I'm sure people come on a daily basis from across the world for their healing. So Projects in Merita also assists with the building and maintenance of the Het Aishat Healing Center, which is in Togo. This is a center where people come for the healing of their mind, body and spirit. And it's a consolidation of healers across the continent that are established there at the Het Aishat Healing Center. And Projects in Merita is dedicated to developing long-term projects throughout Merita, working with people in the diaspora who are also dedicated in assisting to solve current problems facing traditional communities and cultures. And these are the communities and cultures which the whole world actually depends on, whether we realize it or not. The other branch of the Earth Center is the Ancaster Natural Healing. Now, this is the branch that's responsible for bringing the traditional herbal knowledge, healing, herbal products and remedies to the world for the well-being of humanity. And this is, as I said, is done at the Het Aishat Healing Center. Ancaster also provides the earth energy readings, which are called Umtam. Umtam is the oldest science of divination, and this is what the West calls geomancy. So Umtam reads the earth's energy to diagnose a person's energy, looking at their past, present and future, and diagnosing illnesses within the body, or illnesses that their body could be prone to as well. Finally, the fourth branch of the Earth Center is the Umtam School of Kemetic Philosophy and Spirituality. Now, Umtam School is the oldest initiatic system, and it's there that we learn how to apply the Dogon Kemetic knowledge, learning to grow with one another to maintain a balance that's necessary to preserve the earth and all of humanity. So in this school, we learn 3 disciplines. The first one is Sunt, and this is where we learn the traditional healing, the goal of a healer, and the disciplines and principles to be a healer. We learn how to traditionally diagnose various illnesses within the body and how to apply the traditional herbs to assist with that healing. The second class available is the Medu Mait. As we discussed earlier, Medu is humanity's oldest language, and it is the cornerstone of Umtam initiation. So in this class, we learn about the culture of the language and the technical application of it. And Medu has over 300 sounds and 400 ideograms, which by learning and using Medu, it enables one to use the full capacity of the brain, as opposed to the 10% that we currently use through applying and speaking European languages, or dialects, I should say. Medu is still widely used in America today, and it's not a dead language, as the West have claimed. The last class available at the Earth Center's Umtam School is the Ka Tibi. And Ka Tibi is humanity's original form of meditation, and it was the meditation that was used by the priests in the Nile Valley temples. So in this class, we learn the techniques of breathing, the postures and movements and stretches. And we also learn in this class the spiritual knowledge of our ancestors, the scientific and technical applications, i.e. the 50,000 plus year old prayers that we say in Medu. We learn how to approach the world of the gods and our ancestors. So these are the school. Sorry, these are the currently sorry. I just had a brain freeze. These are currently the subjects that are available at the School, and you can contact the Earth Centre, as I said, through www.theearthcentre.org and at our Facebook pages. So if you go on Facebook and type in the Earth Centre, you'll find the Earth Centre Manu, which is MAANU, the Earth Centre UK, the Earth Centre Canada, Earth Centre Coventry, and then you have the Ouagadougou, and that is the school that's based in Burkina Faso.
Yeah, and if you want to say come to our temple, which is in 21 Sunnyside Road, London, E10 7BB, and the email for that is inquiries-uk@theearthcentre.org, and the phone number is 0207 175 4144. Also, the second number for that one is 0208 558 3678. Now that is for the London school, and our branch in Coventry, it's 0247 6266 859. Also 07 3059 95944, and their address is 18 Biggin Hall Crescent, CV3 1GS. So yeah, and for the studio number is 07944431366, and you can connect with us on www.blessfm.org. So for anyone who is keen to kind of say interact with us later on through the program, you can either text through or phone through on the studio number. It's totally, we're here waiting for your calls. So we're gonna play you interlude.
Museums writing books so that their children will never forget. We must all learn from the past so as not to repeat those things that have kept us back for over 500 years. Make we talk, make we talk, make we talk, make we talk, make we talk. Make we talk about the killing that them never mention. Killing was their intention. Blood sweat shoes, hands dipped in blood running from flesh. So make we talk about the bottom of the sea, escaping from slavery. Millions trying to be free, preferring death, yet not to mention the plantation, fighting for liberation. No mention, cause killing was their intention. So make we talk, make we talk, make we talk, make we talk, make we talk. Make we talk about the killing that them never mention. Killing was their intention. Dying at their will, in the name of Jesus they kill. Still, we're there. But who care? No mention. cause killing is dear intention. The lynching in the south when we open we mouth. Many did die, for the few who live. So make we talk, make we talk, make we talk, make we talk, make we talk. Make we talk about the killing that them never mention. Killing was their intention. Thousands of Ethiopians sprayed with poison. Mussolini army sanctioned by the Pope. Still we cope. South Africa children lay dead. Gunshots to their head. Famine on the land. A plan. Act of God. They must be mad. So make we talk. Make we talk. Make we talk about the killing. The killing that them never mention. Killing was their intention. Environmental pollution by their so-called solution. AIDS we all agree. It's no mystery. Lab tests. Escape what a mess, so make we talk. Make we talk. Make we talk about the killing that them never mention. Killing was their intention. Over all the earth, life not have no worth, but we survive the crimes, still they are in a these times. Blood sweat shoes, hands dipped in blood running from flesh. So make we talk, make we talk, make we talk, make we talk, make we talk. Make we talk about the killing that them never mention. Killing was their intention. Make we talk. Make we talk, make we talk, make we talk, make we talk. Everyone remembers their past, building monuments, museums, writing books, so that their children will never forget. We must all learn from the past so as not to repeat those things that have kept us back for over 500 years.
Ojahi, welcome back. As that tune was by Muta Baruka, and it's called Melanin Man. Yeah, and you know, as he was saying there, make we talk. You know, that's we're dealing with the language, our native language. You know, we're trying to get back really, you know, to try to find out kind of say, what is a language and what is the importance of a language. My sister Kasati, what would you say about what is a language?
Ujai, everyone. So we're going to discuss Medu. So as we mentioned before, Medu is humanity's oldest original language. And it's a very important language to humanity because it's a language that creates a sense of harmony in the brain. Medu has no contradictions to nature. And without it, there will be devastation and hopelessness for communication and our spiritual growth. So Medu helps bring quality and mental capacity. As a pure language, it was given to us by the Neteru, the gods, and it has clear concepts. So what is a language? So in Umtam schools, we learn that language is defined as a sound expressing concepts and values of a group of people or society. So when you adopt a language, you also adopt the thinking, the actions, the attitudes, values, and cultures that it dictates for you to live your life by. Applying Medu to one's life provides freedom morally, intellectually, and spiritually as it challenges one to grow. So 200 years before this Christ character, Medu was deemed illegal and it was punishable by death. So that song we just played by Mutal, Make We Talk, about the killing that them never mention, I never knew until joining UMTAM and going through studies that humanity's original language, when we spoke it and these enslavers, the invaders came, they punished us by death if we continued to speak it. So their original tool of colonization was to disconnect us from this language and impose themselves everywhere by opening up their schools and by only allowing us to speak their language. So because of this, we were deprived of our original culture. And we've seen the results of it to this present day. The confusion and mental illness that the dialects that we use nowadays, that is causing, especially our people. So the only way for us to survive is by emancipating ourselves. We need to take back our lives and learn the language, the culture, and the knowledge of our ancestors.
Yeah, and as she's saying, really, the importance we see the Europeans, they saw the strength of what the language actually encompasses. What's the word I'm looking for?
Me no know.
Yeah, anyway, they saw
incapacitated us.
Yeah, what was involved just in the language. It's not just a language. It's not just something that we speak. It had our culture. Everything was encoded within the language. Mm-hmm. So they saw the importance, really, right? That, as we said about the invasion, when they came in, for thousands of years, really, right? They tried to kind of find our weakness, and they recognized that it was our spiritual base, and that spiritual base was wrapped up within the language. So it was important that when they took that language, they replaced it with what they call English, and they broadcast that as if to say it was a language, but actually English is not a language, it's just a dialect. And as my sister was saying, the Medu is the first language. And so when, even in today's society, we see like our powerful symbols are. And that's what the hieroglyphs were. They were natural symbols that was used from nature, yeah. And so that was like the original, and then come the spoken language behind it, So we see today, like even just the traffic light, a right turn or no left turn or straight ahead, the power just in just those symbols and how it impacts on our life, and so, they recognize, really, right, that to control us, it was to change our language. And we saw even in the movie Roots, this is going back for time for those who were able to kind of to see that movie.
They've revamped it.
They've revamped it now?
Yep.
Yeah. How Kunta Kinte was beaten to the stage, really, right, to reduce him, to accept him, so the language, so they beat out his culture, everything that he stood for. So that's how powerful that movie was, really, in just showing, really, to the extent of how far, how many lives that got lost, really, in us acceptance of this language, that basically all it is just a contemporary agreement, really, amongst people. And as again, the Medu is a language that has a clear concept and it has value behind it. So words itself doesn't just have no value to it without the culture and everything that goes behind it. And so it was important, really, for them, really, to kind of to take away our language. I mean, we see even, like, say, a lot, back on the motherland, really, even our name, and we know the importance of our name, how it resonates with nature. Even that was imposed on us, where we're walking around with these European names. The way that we articulate ourselves, we can explain ourselves, we see like the confusion in the language, that there's so much confusion. You know, you say something and it's misinterpreted. You know, there's always arguments like, you said this, you said that, because what we're actually speaking really is, it doesn't make no, it really carries no value to it. You know, as opposed to the Medu, where you find that so each word more or less carries like an ideogram. You know, so there's a word for, like, for you, for female, as there is for a male. So you know, when you use those words, it's clear, you know, and precise. You know.
An ideogram for the listeners. An ideogram is an image or a picture. So the word for a woman would have a image of a woman beside that word, so there would be no confusion. But just to say that what we use today whilst we're speaking is not deemed as a language. So the Greeks and the Romans were actually students of Kemet. So they came and they learned Medu. And so they've adapted that and used it and created what they call a language. So if you look at all European languages, their root is either Latin or Greek. So they're just dialects of something that the Greeks and Romans took Medu from and created what they deem as their language. Now, as Caribbeans, we were enslaved by, as Jamaicans, I would say, because many Caribbeans were enslaved by the Spanish and the Portuguese. But as Jamaicans, from my family's point of view of Jamaican heritage, we were enslaved by the British, so we were enforced to speak this language. And the way I speak now is not the way I speak at home. So in this society, we're forced to, in order to fit in, assimilate, we have to change our tongue. So for those who don't know what "make me talk" mean, it means let us speak, let us talk. So there's many words that we speak in patois, Jamaican patois, that they've said, tell us it's not proper English. Which many other words that we speak in Jamaican patois is a mixture of many different cultures. And one of them is definitely African, which is the language that we spoke before it was beaten out of us. Mm-hmm. So when I'm at home, me not talk, so me I talk now. You know, I do speak the language of my parents, and it's only when I started school that we actually learned how to speak so-called proper English, or they would call it the Queen's English. So if one isn't seen to speak that way at school, in this society, you're looked down upon. And that has been perpetrated across the Caribbean and across the continent of America. So much so that there are many people who are actually born on the continent and they do not even know the language of their ancestors, not the language of their mothers and fathers. And they are just speaking English or French, which, as we know, are the colonizers' language.
Yeah.
Or should I say dialect.
Yeah, and it's a shame. I mean, as you say, we go to our school here, and if you see, they teach us like all the different languages apart from any cultural language.
Mm-hmm, no.
It's all you know, French, German, Spanish, all these different kind of languages really, or dialects really, and you know, it's what's happening out there is, as my sister was saying, is that somehow we've assimilated so much because we're trying to trying to fit into a society really, right, that's actually leading us nowhere, and it's dumbing us down, and we don't really feel the need really, right, to have that continuation of our language, to keep that going, because when we lose that, as they would say, any civilization that doesn't have a language cannot call themselves a civilization.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we've reduced to becoming someone else's kind of footstool really, because you know until we start to kind of say to develop and reclaim back our language that gave us all the values, all the powers and everything that we had, the achievements that we achieved, yeah, was when we had a language and a culture and everything that went with it, really, right? And so coming through initiation is giving us that stepping stone to, the Medu language is not a easy language to kind of to learn for us, because through the conditioning that we've gone through. But what it does try to do is to help to reorientate your brain.
It washes your brain, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot of the things that we say in English, when you try to say that in Medu, it doesn't make no logical sense at all, because when you actually listen to what you're saying, really, it doesn't really make no sense. But, just like how we accept that our day begins the middle of the night, we've just accepted it and just gone along with it and never actually kind of stopped to look at actually where it's actually taking us, and that's the kind of control that they have, Now, we would just like to give you a short little clip from Miss Lou that you can hear some real Jamaican patois. But also within the patois, right? Because we were taken from Africa and we actually came with those languages and things within us,
Mm-hmm.
you can still hear some of those Medu
Mm-hmm.
words and things, that we wasn't even conscious that we were speaking Medu still, and that's within, yeah. So.
Yeah, he is a Medu language, and it's a term that we constantly, as Jamaicans, use. That sound. It's not even a word as much as it's a sound.
Yeah, there's sonograms, aren't there?
Yeah.
Letters is a sonogram that's placed together to make up the words,
So we're going to play some Miss Lou.
Kinds of nice things. And our language, of course, the basic thing is language, which we have been talking for 300 years. Yes, we dear. And my aunt, she said she don't like nobody for say no language at all. She vexed, about the whole rhythm of the language, my child. You see, it's because all this folklore and this culture that we have come from all the different people who have lived in the country, and we just use it, and now we have a real West Indian, a real Jamaican culture. For my aunt wrote to say, when the Asian culture and the European culture buck up an African culture in the Caribbean people, we stir them up and blend them to a flavor. We shake them up and move them to a beat. We wheel them and we turn them and we rock them and we sound them and we temper them and laughs the rhythm sweet. Yes, my dear. So then we don't need to shame at the things we have at all. Like my aunt would say, she vexed anytime she hearing the people I come style for with Jamaica language as corruption of the English language. You ever hear anything, Gusso? Aunt Georgia says she don't know what make them not call the English language corruption of the Norman, French, and the Greek, and the Latin, where them say English is derived from. Oh no, hear the word? English derive, but Jamaica corrupt. No, master, that's not Gusso. We not corrupt and them derive. We derive too. Jamaica derive. We derive. And let me tell you, man, we derive from the English. We derive from Portuguese, from Spanish, and all them sitting, all the people who was there. And on top of it, the basic thing that we derive from is African and Kuya, Pupa. Plenty of the words them in a fluid language, but then tell we say corruption. Hey, a good African word. Good African word that come from a nice African language named Chui. You hear what name? Chui. Yeah, man. It's spelled T-W-I, but they pronounce Chui. I want good language. And make me tell you, missus, you see all word like bankrupt? I trade that, a basket, And when we say nyam, and them go on like when you say nyam, you talk bad. I want good word. Food and eating and all them things there. Yeah, oh man. Like fenke and pia. And susu and sese and casa. Poto. You know when we say something poto poto, I want good word. It mean mud. And you know, like when we say dirty tough, and them tell us say that it's a corruption of dirty and not true. Dirty is ground in tree. It mean the ground. Dirty tough, the ground hard. Yes, dirty tough. Yes, man. So we not fish shame at all. For my Auntie Roger said the whole thing that happened when the English forefathers them was a try for us about the African ancestors them fit chat so English. But the African ancestors them pop them. Yes, them pop them. For them disguise of the English and the African in such a way that them still couldn't understand them. Listen, man. And up to today, I don't plenty of Jamaica what them got English in it. Hey, no English man can't understand what we are saying. We don't want them understand. Yes, true. Yes, missus. For you know what happened to we? We fling most of the bang around them. And we just keep on wanting. Like for instance, you know when some English people might say, I got stuck by a prickle. Jamaica say, Maka joke me. Yes, man. And when them English, go away, here we go. Yes, man, and we have a way, see, to make the word we say sound like where the same thing we are talking about look like. For when we say your bugu yaka, you know right away say your bugu yaka. But if we say your bunu no no, that'd be nice, yes. Then when we say something ruku ruku, you know it's shaky shaky. Yeah, man. Then you know English people have a way them say bad, worse, worst. We not say so. We not tap this up. We say bad, worse, worse. Yes, man. And when the same thing was down, we say was Then now another thing. You know when the English them I say about if them talk to one somebody, them say you. And them talk to 1,000 somebody, them say you. When we talk to one somebody, we say you. When we talk to more than one somebody, we say oh no. Yes, man. No, man, we not fish here, man, nothing at all. No, son. Then now, you see like how it look like fenke, for instance. If we say something fenke, and pia. You know, say weak, you know. But when we say something talawa, you know, say strong. Yes, child, we not have to shame at all. Like one fool Jamaica girl when it come to England, you know. And them ask her to sing one Jamaica folk song. Say mama, then catch papa. Hear the fool girl. Mother, the apprehended father. Locks. Then, my dear child, them go ask her to sing another one. And this one is, Matiwala left, you know. Me know where Matiwala left. Hear the fool girl. I don't want. I don't want what Matty eats and leaves. Locks, I tell you, child. Oi, pile up the culture bad.
Ujai, welcome back. Welcome back to the Wisdom of the Nile show. And we're just waiting for our guests to prepare themselves, really. Yeah. Ujai said.
Ready?
You can hear us.
Yes, I can hear you.
You can hear us good and proper. That's good. So, yeah, greetings, Wujai, and welcome to the Wisdom of the Nile show. I'm Neezheqiah, and my host is.
Kasati Hekama.
Yeah. So, would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners and just give them like an account of what your name actually means?
Okay. Ojai, everybody. My name is. Okay, I'm getting some feedback.
You're getting some feedback.
Do you have any devices on?
Speaker on.
You have a speaker on. Okay, maybe that.
Okay. Oh no, speaker wasn't on.
That's better.
That was false.
Yeah,
The speaker wasn't on. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're coming through clear. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Ojai, everybody. My name is Zeembai Neezheqiah. That's my Kemetic name. Zeembai actually means healed or made gracious by the God by the Netel by. So healed or made gracious by the Netel by. That's the name. That's the meaning of Zeembai. That's my first name. The last name is Neezheqiah. Neezheqiah means the interceder of the moon goddess. So I entered the Earth Center about 2.5 years ago, I think 2017. Originally, I was a Christian.
Okay.
And I was born, okay, I'll just start from a brief history. I was born in Merita, Africa, in West Africa, Liberia, a country called Liberia, small country. That was like an annex of the United States. This is a country where free slaves from America were relocated. Liberia was where I was born. I was raised there. I grew up to the age of 33 years old. So I grew up in the vicinity of the tradition, but unfortunately, I grew up in what we now refer to in the Earth Center as colonial Africa.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a city. Right. So that kind of put me at odds with tradition. So I was cut off. I never visited my village or anything. I had no connection to the tradition.
You was on the motherland and you was disconnected.
Oh. Okay, where did I start? Okay, I'll just repeat this. I was born in Liberia, West Africa. Liberia is a small outpost of the United States, or colony, or what, of the United States. This is a country in West Africa where free slaves from the United States were relocated. This is where I was born, and I was born in a city that we can refer to as colonial Africa. So basically, I was cut off from my tradition. And so fast forward, once I entered the United States, being a Catholic, I started to understand the nature of life in the Western world. And then I began to unravel the whole mystery of the whole religion thing, and the tradition of the people who brought this religion start to unravel before me. And I finally decided, this is not what I was looking for. This is not my calling. This is not, what I need to be doing. So I started my search for something. I had that yearning, that calling that even I did not understand. So I started to dabble with, I started with Islam. That didn't add up. So I started to learn Buddhism. It was interesting, but going down into the course, into the studies, I started to ask myself, but what about Africa? What do we have in Africa? This is how serious our situation is. I was in Africa and never thought like this. But now that I'm in the West, of course, I'm exposed to bigger things. A lot of things are happening. So I'm asking the question, where is Africa? And then I searched. Once I started searching, I found Master Naba on YouTube from one of his videos, and I listened, and then I was confused. What? We got spiritual master in Africa? Yes, we did. So that was my spot. And then I started to listen to a couple of more of his videos. Once I got enough, I contacted Chicago because that was the contact they had on the video. And that was how I started with the Earth Center. I will repeat my name. I don't know if you got my name and the meaning of my name.
Yeah,
Did you get that?
You can explain it again to the listeners here, because it's very important really for people to recognize the importance of our name. That's why we explain what it means as well. Yeah, so go for it. Yeah.
So my Kemetic name is Zeembai. Zeembai Neezheqiah. Zeembai, the first name means healed or made gracious. So you can go with made gracious by the God or the Neter Bai. That's the first name. The second name, which is my generation name, is Neezheqiah. Neezheqiah means interceder of the God or of the moon goddess. Those who intercede to the moon goddess. That's my generation name.
Sorry, Uja Zeembai, your voice is getting a bit muffled at stages, so I'm not quite sure why. Continue speaking though, but I'm not sure why. Maybe you're too close to the mouthpiece. I'm not sure.
Okay, is it better now?
It is. It's intermittent though.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the distance or what. But yeah, so, okay. So that's the explanation for my name. And since then, I have been active with the Earth Center. And I don't have any plans yet to move anywhere. I have plans to stay with Earth Center.
Where would you go after this, though?
There is no place. I mean, this is, I like what is going on here, and this is where I want to be.
Yeah, so apparently you've got a couple of stories or something like that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, so, okay. So having during Zimzim, you know, the public Zimzim, we do a reflection. The leader of the Zimzim do a reflection. So I just decided to reflect on our mission as a human being, our mission on Earth in this lifetime, and the nature of the challenges that we face, and how we can guide ourselves in order to achieve these challenges. So one of the story I told the worshippers or the initiates is a story that actually happened to me, you know. So back home it's different from in the West. Back home, when our mothers get ready to cook or prepare food, in some cases they give the children, they call a child or a couple of children to go to the marketplace. So they give us money and give us a market basket, right? So we take that basket and then go to the market and buy the item that she will list to us. Once we buy these items, we bring it home. Then our mothers take the food and cook this food and then prepare food for everybody to eat. Now, the scenario I was bringing to focus was sometimes when we get the money and the mission to go to the market, the instruction to go to the market, we take this money, we take the basket, and we go to the market. But then we sometimes get distracted by our friends, our mates, our age group, right? We go and see our friends, and it's all play from there. Once you see your friend and hey, buddy, and then it's all play. We start playing, and we will play throughout the market, completely forget about our mission, the tasks that were assigned by our mother.
Yeah.
And sometimes we play throughout the day till it gets noon or till it start to get dark. At that point, the market women are all packing up and leaving the marketplace, right?
Yeah.
So once they're leaving the marketplace, that's a signal for us now that, then we become aware of what's happening around us. And then we realize, oh my goodness, we're here to buy something. And then now when you go to look for you had to buy pepper or some rice. And when you now go to these women, they have already packed up and gone.
Yeah.
So in this case, this child is going to go home totally empty-handed, have not done anything that he was asked to do.
That means no dinner for anyone.
Thank you. Huh?
That means no dinner for everyone.
So in some cases, the child will even lost the money that he was giving. And so it is at that point that the child, once he realizes that it's getting dark and the market women are all gone or are leaving and he can't find what he wants, that's when he becomes conscious and start to wonder now, what is going to happen to me? When I go home, what is going to happen to me? Or if he already know the routine of his parents, he knows he's probably going to get punishment.
Yeah.
Now, how I relate it to our tasks in life is we all come into this life with a task, with a mission. We're all here to do work for our bloodline. So nobody just fell from the sky or was just blown out of some place randomly. We all know that we come from somewhere. In our tradition and in the tradition that the Kemetic, the Umtan school is teaching us, we are coming from our bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we come from our bloodline, we come with a mission. We come with to perform certain tasks. Now, this lifetime in the life and on the earth, especially in some places, we can consider that, or we can compare that to the marketplace that I was describing in my story. With all the distraction, the desires, and all the emotional attachment, this represents them, or the marketplace represents this earth. So we come here and get distracted by all our many desires, our emotional attachment, and all the distraction of life. Mm-hmm. Wanting a car, wanting a house, wanting all the things, the material things. And so we get busy doing that are compared to the children meeting their friends and playing. Once we, we do all this through all our life, we spend it on career mood and, the career trend and all that, getting all the money and all the wealth and all the fame and power and whatnot. We spend our entire life doing this. When the sunset days of our life come around, compared to the marketplace when it's getting dark and the ladies are leaving the marketplace, then we have all the time to meditate, right? We have all the time to think because we are not as fast and as mobile as we used to be. Then we start to realize, if we are even lucky to have that chance to realize what we're here for. Most people die without a transition without realizing this. But for those who will realize, now you come and start to realize. For those who will not, when that time comes and you transition and go home to your ancestors, when you get there, they're going to ask you, the things we asked you to do, did you do them? Mm-hmm. And what would the answer be? Now you're going to hit your head and say, oh, I totally forgot.
Yeah.
You see? So that's how I relate that story. We come into this life and we get distracted by all the material things, all the distractions. Mm-hmm. And in the end, when we transition, we go back, we are going to be asked that question. So the lessons of the story was that we should beware of the distractions. And from the Kemetic teaching, we should try to focus, stay steadfast to the goal. Yes. Stay focused on the goal. Mm-hmm. For why we are here. We know our goal here is to move towards the divine world, mm-hmm. and to do what our ancestors put us here for, send us here for. So that's the first story.
Mm-hmm. A very good story, really.
Pardon me?
No, I said it's a very good story, really, because it is that, really, isn't it? That the society basically is distracting us, really, like, from our purpose. And as you said, really, and many of us actually do die, really, knowing or trying to serve the purpose that we actually came here to achieve. So yeah, Set is kind of he's put all the entrapment out there, really, for us to kind of say to go from where we're supposed to be heading towards. Yeah. So
yes.
Yeah. So continue.
So the second story I told them was about a priest in our village. There was this priest who was moving from one village to another, right? And he was on a call to help somebody. So the distance between the village he was leaving to the destination village was a little bit of distance. So he started to move towards this village. And suddenly in the middle of the way, there was this random guy coming out of the bush and started to attack him with words. This guy was throwing all sorts of insult at him. Just, you name it, and he was throwing it at the priest. But the priest kept his cool. He just stood there with a smile on his face and listened to this guy. This guy poured out all the dirt he had to pour out to the priest, blaming him for everything. And, you people, you say you the religious people and blah, 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 or the people of God, whatever. And the priest just kept quiet and listened. But then after this guy talked for a minute or for a while and did not get any response from the priest, did not even get a reaction, he became concerned. He started to ask the priest, what do you think is wrong with you? I'm talking to you and you're just sitting there smiling. And the priest said, I have a question for you. And he said, what's your question? And the priest asked him, if you go to the store and buy a gift for somebody, and then you take that gift and give it to the person and say, here, I have a gift for you. And the person look at the gift and rejects the gift and say, no, I don't want your gift. Who would that gift belong to? And the guy say, of course it belonged to me. I will take it. I bought it. The priest said, that answer is correct. That would be your gift because you bought it. This is the situation we are in right now. The priest continued. You are offering me a gift. All these insults, all this emotion you are pouring out, you're trying to transfer that to me. But I'm rejecting it. That's why I'm smiling. Because I'm rejecting your gift. So who do you think will continue to hurt and continue to be emotional and continue to be irrational? It's you, because I'm not taking this gift. I reject it. And that shut him up a little bit.
Sure would.
So the lesson from that story, as I explained to the initiate, is in our effort to attain and maintain purity in our walk towards the divine world, we will encounter these kinds of attacks. We will encounter these kinds of events or situations. The model of the priest is what we should adopt. We should understand it as whatever somebody is throwing at you, you don't have to take it. So if somebody comes to you and insults you, you don't have to accept the insult. Because why? You're holding on to something that is more valuable than that which you will achieve by arguing with that person or insulting that person or going at it with that person. So you want to maintain focus on the thing you have in your hand, the thing of value, that is your drive towards the divine world, that is the protection of the purity that you're trying to attain in life. So that is the second story, and that's how I explained that to them.
Very interesting. You know, it's so correct though, isn't it? Because if we can show that that discipline and emotional control, you know, but I suppose we've all got weaknesses really. We see that even in road rage, that kind of thing, they're really happening out there every day. You know, we get up, do our zemzem, put ourselves out there really right, and then it's like the devil is there waiting really kind of to test you as always. You know, but as you say, if you don't hold on to it, then it can't really hurt you. But it's to actually have that discipline really to be able to show that strength really to kind of yeah.
Yes, definitely. So especially in this part of the world where we find ourselves, this is literally a marketplace. And you will find all sorts of people, you know, all sorts of crazy people. And most of them are busy doing their work, trying to confuse you, trying to take you off your track, off your path. You have to understand the value of what you're doing and guide yourself against all the distraction. Because with the society we're living in now is so full of, they train us to live in our emotions. So everything, we have to react to it. But according to our teaching in the Kemetic school, in the Umtan school, we cannot be reactionary. We have to be logical. We have to be reasonable, you see. You have to be reasonable. And these are just examples or lessons that we're trying to give to the initiates to help us, all of us, to know and stick to what is valuable, what we're trying to do.
So these stories, who was it that told you these stories? I mean, you know, they're very powerful.
With the first story, that's my life. It happened.
Okay.
So once I learned from the Earth Center and I started to understand really what we are doing here,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of, you know, like my teachers left me with it. Think about it, meditate on it, bring it into focus. You know, life should be, you should live what you're learning. So I just thought about everything I was taught. You know,
Mm-hmm.
once I did join the inner Sufi class and Hatton Irita he taught us about, you know, I went deeper into the watch. That's when I understood that, oh man, this is, you know, so I started looking at real life situation that I can use to build myself to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just remember that story. That's real life story. The second story is this is a friend, a very wise friend of mine who told me that story. Told me the story of this priest who will not be offended no matter what happens.
Mhm.
You know, he will not get offended. And so he told me the story. I just did that to help my friends, you know.
I'm sure really, like, if someone kind of sit there and meditate on, you know, those stories, they really, you know, they would find some strength in that really, you know, because as we said, it's happening in our everyday life really, isn't it? You know, um, things come at us, and our natural instinct really is to react. You know,
Yes.
and you know, I'm guilty of that really. You know, where I'm trying to, as they say, stop and think first before you know, we build, as they would say, we build dams, and when we build those dams, they're hard really to kind of to take down. You know, so sometimes it's good to kind of, we can just show that discipline, that you know, after sometimes having that humility really to step back and just humble and just give time, you know.
Right. Right.
Years ago, this I used to do mini cabin, and this it was like, this man was like a mentor to me. He was an African man, and he always used to say, you know, it's easy just to say what comes into your mind, but it's hard to take it back once it comes out. But if you can
Exactly.
just, yeah, but if you can stop and think for 1 second, and if you
Mhm.
still insist that's what you want to say, then you can say it, but at least you would have thought about it, you know.
Right. Right.
But
You know, so when I was, you know, we had a graduation recently at the Art Center in Baltimore,
mm-hmm,
and when I had a chance to say a word or two to my students, the graduating student, that was one question that we discussed during class, sometime during class. And the question was, what, how do you know by observing a person, how do you know if the person is doing their utmost to be a pure person? And they answered the question by seeing that the person, by what the person will not do,
mm-hmm,
you see, is by what they will not do. So in the case of the priest, he will not buy into that dirtiness.
mm-hmm,
With all the temptation and all the insults, he could easily become emotional and then buy into it and start to insult this person back.
mm-hmm,
After all, according to the paradigm we live in, he has all the right. But by observing that attitude that he put up, we can see that he was a person that was doing his utmost to maintain purity.
yeah.
You see, so these are all things that we have to, keep our focus on in order to help each other grow and
Yeah.
not fall by the wayside.
So when you was in, I mean, like, you know, as you said, you was in Christianity before. So how many years was you into that led you down to this path here?
I was born into Christianity.
It was like a rite of passage then.
It was a rite of passage. I was baptized. My father was a Christian.
Yeah.
And he made all of us Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Until I was about 40, until I was about 46 years old, that's when I decided to actually make the move to get out.
Mm-hmm.
I have been somewhat tortured. I can describe it as torture because there was this nagging feeling, there was this calling that I couldn't understand. But it was deep. And I had all kinds of dreams. Terrible dreams, some just dreams way beyond my imagination. But I didn't understand anything until I came to the United States and started to study existence, religion, spirituality. It's when I found the Earth Center and started to learn. But then everything started to unravel to me that, wow, there's a lot I don't know. See, there's a lot I don't know. There's a lot I can learn. And so I started to study. That's how I got to move on away from Christianity, knowing that it's really nothing. It's really doing me no good. And so since then, I have always stayed focused on this path. Because on this path I've learned, I went to Medita on in the year 2017, I think. I went on a pilgrimage to Medita for 2 years. 2 months, I'll be alive. And that was the first time. Imagine that a man who born in Africa, born and raised in Africa in Medita. That was the first time I experienced living in the tradition, living in the villages, living in the bushes.
And how did that compare to your city life living?
Living in a city in Medita, in the colonial Medita, there's no comparison. Living in a city in Medita, it's almost a small scale New York life or London life. It's almost we try to imitate what they have here, but it's on a small scale and not really flashy like here. But there is no comparison of that to the village life. To the village life, you won't find a flush toilet, you won't find a paved street, and all the organizations and all the so-called modern things. But one thing I noticed is the structure. The villagers have certain structure that is just amazing. Even when we go to visit the king, we went to a town called Puni in Bobo Dioulasso in Burkina Faso. The way he and his men, he and his wise men, or his assistants, or deputies, sat under the tree, on the big baobab tree, and the way they arranged themselves, they look kind of weird to me, but until Irita made a statement about it, educated us on what that arrangement was. And that's when I started to realize, my God, these guys are more intelligent than, the people that we live with that run in the world today. So there's no compare to that.
I mean, what was a language structure? Because our topic today, really, right, we was just dealing with, like, say, the importance, or what is a language and the importance of a language. So, what was the spoken language there, say, like in Liberia there, and how, what, yeah, just basically
You
the
you say what
influence.
was the spoken language in Liberia?
Mm. What is the spoken language there? What dialect that they use there? What is it? English, French? What?
In Liberia, there's the so-called official language is English, the American English.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But we had almost 18 different languages, 18 different tribes or different people and their language. Each had their own language. Some of the language are just a little bit slight variation of others,
Mm-hmm.
but we had 18 of those. And those language, now that I learned about language and understood the principle that it is, that conveyor belt of knowledge, of legacy, of the tradition, the identifier, you know. And I started to study, and I asked my wife once, for instance, dream, right? Dream. What is dream? Once I started my initiation, I started to have dreams. These dreams were even more profound than I was seeing. I started to see things that I'd never imagined in my dream. And you know, so when I asked my wife, what do they call dream in your village? Because she's from a different village and had speak a different language. She said in their language, dream is called sitting voice. It's a sitting voice. See, it's not a dream. It's a voice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sitting voice. I found that really profound because normally we say, "Oh, it's a dream," and in America, I'll tell you what. In America, we have this thing called the American dream.
Yeah.
That is something that is very elusive because it's a fantasy. And so if you take a profound experience like dream, like what we label dream, and call it a dream, a profound experience like that travel, because what we call dream is mostly travel. It's this travel of the spirit or something like that. If we take that and label a dream, we have diminished the power of that experience, the reality. Because now we're saying, oh, it's a fantasy. So a psychologist may say it's just a reflection of your subconscious or whatever, subconscious mind. And so people don't pay much attention to the dream. But as an initiate of the Kemetic school, the Umtan school, I now understand that dream is not just a fantasy. It's not just chemical firing in your brain. Dreams is a lot more profound. Dream is actually a message. And sometimes dream is literally happening to you as you're dreaming it. So language will do that kind of damage to a person, to cause such a profound experience like that, for the person to either take it as a fantasy or as a serious message. You see. So when we talk about language, people who has no language or who have lost the ability to speak the language of their ancestors, you can only imagine the kind of loss that is, unmeasurable. Because if you would take a profound experience like what we call dream, and call it a dream, in fact calling it a fantasy, that's a loss because your ancestors can be speaking to you. Divinities can be speaking to you, and you just think it's a dream.
Yeah.
And just think about how much you can miss not paying attention to your dream and reacting or doing what you are told. So when we go into a language, that's one of the greatest loss that we have as a people. I am one of those because I don't know my language. I can't speak my language. I mean, I will understand a couple of words and statements here and there, but I'm not fluent in my language, and
So
that's a big loss.
can I just redress that, please? So you said in your country they speak up to 18 different languages, and you say you left there when you were in your 40s, and yet still
No, 33.
sorry, 30s, and yet you do not speak your mother tongue.
At all. Well, not at all. I can understand certain things, but you
So-
can equate to that. I do not speak my mother tongue.
Okay, so
There's no excuse for that.
what was the purpose? I mean, how did that come about? Was that due to colonialism?
Definitely, that was due to colonialism. It's part of the effect of colonialism. Because why I said that is my father was not too far from the tradition. My father was born in the tradition, born in our village. He was raised in our village. But then he left the village to become civilized. What we call civilization. So once he left the village, he did not make the effort to teach us our language, to teach us our culture. He just left everything behind.
Oh.
We can only say that it's due to part of the effect of colonialism. Other than that, I mean, otherwise he will be back in the village doing his studying and learning, getting his initiation and doing what he needs to be doing. But the desire to be civilized kind of took priority for him. So he left the village and came to the city. And there where we started, in the city, the confusion.
So within the village, did you see any form of initiation? Was there anything like what we're going through?
I did not see their traditional initiation, but I took part in a couple of initiation. That is was offered to us by the good people of Bobo Julaso, or region in Bobo Julaso. So being an initiate of Master Naba Lavin Samuel Demele, they opened up this initiation to us. So I was very grateful to be a part of that initiation.
What age was that?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, no. At what age did you go through that initiation there?
Oh, at the age of 51. At the age of 51, yes. Other than that, I did not see any of the local traditional initiation.
Does it still go on in Liberia? Do they still have traditional initiation there?
Oh, yeah, they have lots of, this is still going on. Not in the colonial part.
So they're still
in the villages.
Yes, and they are still speaking their native tongue, their native.
Oh yeah, they're still speaking that. My wife was lucky. She was born in a village. She lived in a village, so she had her initiation there. She speaks her mother tongue very well, and so even today, we still send money to the village, to her village, to support some of her nieces and nephews in the initiation camps in their village. Yeah. Yeah, it's on. It's still ongoing. So thank goodness for that.
So do you feel the urge to go back and learn the language of your ancestors?
Very much so. Very much so. I feel so bad that I can't speak my language, because now I know the language has a profound effect on the brain, on how you see everything. just like what I explained just now about dreams. So that's just a stark difference between what the modern system or the Western system we refer to that experience,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to what a traditional person would call it. I told you in my wife's traditional language, they call it sitting voice. So it is a voice. There's no fantasy in that. There's no illusion in that.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a voice sitting down and telling you something. In the tradition, a sitting voice is a very powerful voice.
Mm-hmm.
But who will be sitting down talking? Most likely an old person
Mm-hmm.
with all the wisdom. And he's going to be talking softly and quietly. And that's the voice you want to listen to if you want to be successful, if you want to understand the world around you. So they call it sitting voice. How profound is that? Well, I didn't know that until, I knew it was a dream. It was chemical firing in your brains, or it was the figment of your imagination, or it was just a reflection of your subconscious. So you can easily wipe it away.
Mm-hmm.
Forget it.
I know at the moment they're planning to streamline Swahili across the continent of America. So they're saying if they start now with the children, by 5 years, in 5 years' time, all the children across the continent will be speaking Swahili. What would you say about something like that?
That would be a very beautiful thing
Mm-hmm.
if it is not sponsored by a non-African, a non-traditional African. At this point, I can't trust anything that is coming from even the colonial African.
Yes, yeah, I understand.
There is such thing as a colonial African.
Yeah, well, there's African and there's Merita, yes.
Exactly. So, okay, I won't trust the African, the black African. I would prefer that program is piloted and run by the traditional people, which I think is still a pipe dream on my part, because the tradition is not going to be a part of this craziness that we call Western civilization. They will not be a part of it. So yes, it's all sounding good, but so was liberation, right? So was the liberation fight. So was African independence.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we today with African independence?
Mm-hmm. Not very far.
We're just independent and free to be fools, free to be slaves. So it sounds good. I wish it would do well, but I'll wait to see.
Okay. So I wanted to quickly ask you, you say you've gone through Christianity, Islam and Buddhism, and you found your place in Umtam Kemetic traditional spirituality. What was it that, for the listeners who are on their journey, what was it that concreted you in Umtam as opposed to the religions?
In Umtam, I learned how to grow as an individual, just on a basic level. In Christianity, I learned how to follow. I learned how to obey laws. I learned how to be afraid. I learned how to worship a God I don't know. And I learned how to worship that God I don't know by obeying people, even those who have my worst intent, who have a bad intention for me. I learned to obey them with fear. But in Umtam, I learned to grow. I learned to evolve in a way that it actually should be. There is structure in Umtam. There are laws, but that law is all there to help you grow as an individual, you see.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, in the Unkan, they teach you about the concept of, we're taught about the concept of the egoist, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, in the modern world, an egoist has a very negative connotation.
Mm-hmm.
And we are taught to frown on that word, frown on the concept. We have to do a group thing, a group act. We have to be like, that group manipulation, very reactionary to impulses and triggers.
Mm-hmm.
But in their own time, when I learned about the egoist, that was profound. You it's okay for you to be selfish.
Yeah.
you know, it's okay for you to be selfish as long as you're doing it for the right purpose.
Exactly.
If you're an egoist, that means you have identified your goal, you identify who you are, your path, and you have set yourself on that path,
Mm-hmm.
and you are dedicated to the path.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean you can't be a group think, a group player, but you have to be in that group with the sole purpose of growing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just join any group, right? You can't just join a group because they're running and yelling. You want to join a group that has the same goal as you.
Mm-hmm.
That way, everybody has the same mode of operation. That way, everybody knows not to impede the next person. Everybody know that it is best to help the next person, because by helping that next person, you're helping
Helping
yourself, and the
yourself.
group can move on.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so by that you have all the help. So if you look into one of the things that Umtam taught us is the traditional society, right? The structure, the formation of the structure of the traditional society. It is set up to complement every effort. Everybody's effort is seen as equal. And you don't, because of that, you don't have to know everything. Like in the Western world, you have to be everything
Mm-hmm.
or get all the money so that you can buy everything or pay for everything.
Mm-hmm.
There is a shared effort. You have a skill, you use that skill to help others move on, and others use their skills to help you move on. So you don't use all your time and effort on just living or existing. You have a lot of time to grow spiritually and walk your path the best way. So that's profound, and that all that is being an egoist.
Yeah, dua Hussein, dua. The tables need to turn, don't they? People need to wake up and start looking within.
Definitely,
With the right
definitely.
tools, that we've been afforded with, we've been privileged to be exposed to. You know.
Right. Yes. Within is it. It's the key word. We have to start looking within,
Mm-hmm.
because now just give you this one little story before I close. I don't know if you're tired with me yet.
No, no, no.
So
Continue.
so there was this guy, right, in his home, and he lost his key, right? He lost the key to his home, and he came running out of his house, the lights off and everything in the house. So he came out of the house looking for the keys, and he's looking very frantically and trying and asking everybody and looking through all the brushes and the brushes. And so this wise man passing along said, "What you looking for?" First, this son bad, rascals passing around. I say, what are you looking for? He said, I'm looking for my key. And they said, oh, the key is over there. We saw a key over there under the tree, about 4 or 5 yards away. He said, I saw a key over there. And he would run over there and go and look. And then he turned around and see them laughing at him and come back and refocus himself. And that went on for a while until this guy, his wife Shallow, came by and said, what are you looking for? And he said, I'm looking for my key. And he said, where was the key? Where did you drop the key? And he said, I was in a house. I think I left it, I think it may be in the house, but I don't know. I'm just looking to see if I can find it. Then he said, why not go in the house and look? He said, but the lights are off. He said, put the lights on. But you have to look inside first. And so, just a basic story. That's why we are all engaged into it, right?
Yeah.
We are looking everywhere for solution. We are looking outside of ourselves for solution. Asking everybody, waiting for Jesus, waiting for the church and God and all that, and the government, everybody, but ourselves. But the question is, since we've been doing this for the past 200 or 2,000 years now, where are we? Still confused, right? Still looking.
Yeah.
And everybody is telling us, there's a key. I saw a key over there. And we run there like crazy people. And we come back. And, oh, no, I saw it on this side. Once you start looking inside, which one time tells you to do, look within yourself. Once you can fix the problem in yourself, the problem in the whole entire world will be fixed. Because once you fix that self, then you're like the priest who's walking in the village and will not accept any gift that he doesn't want. So you fix yourself. So everything you see has a context. And if it has a context, it has a way of dealing with it. There is structure. So when you look within, you find all the answers.
Yeah.
It's the importance of looking within.
Yeah, I like the story there with the priests and the keys. The keys. Yeah, I like the story there with the keys. With the
Yeah. So it's just initiatic story just to help people focus and get the picture. That's how people teach,
Yeah.
And that's how the on-time school teach. They teach and give you stories because the stories solidify the knowledge or create like a bank. Once you know the story, you can come up with the whole teaching, the whole concept. That's the power of stories.
And this is where in the village they would have these stories where the children would learn from their elders, and that's how the knowledge was passed down, like going through initiation, same way it's passed down.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how most of the important knowledge are passed down through stories.
Yeah. So you're enjoying your Inishifi knowledge.
Oh man, I'm just getting my mind blown every time. I mean, unfortunately, right now because of work and other engagement, I can't be sitting on the class, but I get the recording, and it just blows my mind every time I listen. And for some reason, that just fits in that void. The void I had in me. It's just settling very well now with these stories. I just kind of filling those voids, and I'm feeling much better than I was when I was outside of the on-time traditional studies. So yes, Onishufi is the man, or it's the thing.
Yeah, it's amazing how much knowledge there is out there to learn, really, isn't there?
Oh man, you can't imagine. Can you imagine the kind of thing that people are missing out on?
Oh, this is right, really, isn't it? I mean, we've just been conditioned with we're following someone else's language, their values, their views, and their opinions, and
Right,
we're not kind of looking at our story, our history, of where we were, what made us great. This is what they saw, they came and they took, and they repackage it and
right,
sell it back to us, really, and we fall for it for some reason, you know. So, as I said, we don't have to pick up what other people is giving us, really, once we know the direction on what is there for us,
right.
you know. So we've
Okay, look like
yeah,
I'm running out of time.
I
So
know you had it. Yeah, I know that you had an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, to kind of your break and thing there. Yeah, so we just say Dua will really like for giving us hour of your time, and we just hope that the listeners kind of heard your stories, because they had a lot of sense to them, really. A lot we can learn from them, you know. So
right.
yeah, so we just hope that your journey through your becoming would continue, and you'll become stronger and stronger as we're trying to be.
Right.
And so we just say Duawu and Iru Iru, and from my
All
sisters,
right. I
Yeah.
appreciate you
Duawo,
all,
Sen. Duawo.
Nene. I appreciate you all for having me on,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
and thank you.
Okay. All right. Iriru.
Iru.
Really had a
Iriru.
And that was Zeembai from
From Baltimore, I
Baltimore.
believe. Yes.
And yeah, we hope that you know is yeah, we have some information to give out, really, in regards to
Yeah, we've got some events coming up for this month. The lectures. So we have on the 28th of December in Coventry, we have the Hidden Doggone Wisdom Revealed lecture. So that's in Coventry at 5:30. And the contact details for that. Well, if you go on the Facebook page, the Earth Centre Coventry,
that will
you
be
can find the information relating to that.
and the number for the Coventry School is 024762666859 and 0730599594, and the address is 18 Biggin Crescent, CV3 1GS. And we've got our graduation coming up as well.
No, sorry. So that lecture in Coventry, that's entitled Your Destiny and Your Ancestral Spirit, the Importance of Ancestors. So that's Coventry, 28th of December, 5:30 to 7:30. And then in London, on the same day, the 28th of December, from 6:30 to 8:30, we have the lecture Wisdom of the Nile lecture series, and this one is entitled Traditional Healing versus Modern Medicine. So there again, you can go on the Facebook Earth Centre UK page to get more information and to book your tickets. And also in February the 2nd, we have our graduation of our the 7th generation to graduate from the UK. So that's on the 2nd of February, and that is in Tottenham. The details I can provide for you in one moment. And also on the 8th of February, there will be the orientation. And orientation is when the doors of initiation will be open to members of the public to come and hear about the organization and have an opportunity to ask questions with a view to walk the road of initiation, the journey into self. So that is on the 8th of February. And as I said, the 2nd of February is the graduation. Now, the address for that is, one moment. Excuse me, one moment, please.
Yeah. Well, for all those who are interested, really, say for orientation, that's going to be that once a year opportunity. So, don't be late. It is your chance really to share some of this knowledge. You hear the experiences that we've all had as initiate, really, like, as seekers, seeking for the truth. What we now see that is the truth, because we've been miseducated by people really who saw information and knowledge and didn't really understand it. And now coming through the initiation, we're getting it from the source. This is kind of, say, a way of life that these indigenous people have been living for thousands of years. So it's not through reading a book that, as Master Naba said, you can't get spirituality by reading a book. It's something that you have to go through and live. And that's what initiation is. You cannot get it reading a book. You have to go through the process of facing your challenges. And initiation is about, facing yourself, finding yourself, so it's a perfect opportunity really for people really to develop themselves really.
So the information relating to the orientation and graduation will be on the Facebook page, Earth Centre of UK. And as I said, it's on the 2nd of February and the 8th of February, and those will be at New Chances in 399 High Road, Tottenham, N17 6QN. As I said, if you go onto the Facebook page, you'll get more information and the links to reply in due course.
And if people are struggling, if they know where the Mahat Centre is, it's just across the road from there. Yeah.
So the number to call for any further inquiries
is for the London school is 0207 175 4144. Also 0208 558 3678. And for the Coventry school, is 0247 6266 859, alongside 0730 59 95944. And so any of those numbers, so the first two numbers are for the London school and the second two is for the Coventry school. The address for the London school is 21 Sunnyside Road, London E10 7BB,
and the email address is inquiries-uk@theearthcentre.org. So as I said, we have in London the 28th of December the lecture. So until we meet again.
Yes, from the Wizdom of the Nile show. We would just like to say duawu for all those for tuning in. We would like to say duawu for Zeembai, for for taking time out really right to give us some beautiful stories that are very powerful, have very powerful meaning behind them. So rewind your tape and come again and listen to how the stories that he shared with us, you know. And so we're going to be playing you our signing out tune of the Makaroo himself, Master Neb Naba Lomusa Moran Dedenbig. And we will just say duawu for him for bringing us to Earth Center here to the west, and to Naba Irita Samira for further continuing, really, right, to grow the school, really, right, so that more and more people, really, right, have the opportunity, really, in getting some true knowledge. And Iriru, everyone. Where is that?
Listen up, which means I'll be appreciated after I'm gone. He's the man who overcome the devils with love. He's the man who speaks because he has something to say. The man of wisdom, the definition of humanity. Maheru, Maheru, Maheru. I'm from far away, I'm from far away, far away, from far away, West Africa, from far away, Prophet Naba, far away, Lamusa, far away, Tenebi, far away, Prophet from far away, Prophet Naba, far away, from far away, from far away, Prophet from far away. He's the man of wisdom. He's the man who lived by faith, and not by fear. His greatest wealth is the richness of his soul. He's the man who lived by faith and not by fear. He's the double-edged sword. He's the double-edged sword. He's the key to unlock the treachery. Follow truth and you shall find him. He's the definition of humanity. He's the beginning and the end. He's the prophet Naba. Far away, I'm from far away, far away, from far away, West Africa, from far away, Prophet Naba, far away, Lamusa, far away, Tenebi, far away, my prophet from far away, Prophet Naba, far away, from far away, from far away, Prophet from far away. Bob Marley say, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophet while we stand aside and look? Oh, some say it's just a part of it. We gotta fulfill the book. Come to Maheru, 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 come. He got your untold story. I'm from far away, I'm from far away, far away, from far away, West Africa, from far away, Prophet Naba, far away, Lamusa, far away, Tenebi, far away, my prophet from far away, Prophet